Hey guys, what's up? George here, aka T-WreckSs, bringing you another Raid Shadow Legends video. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at how to know who needs books. Now you can see here, I've got 3 rare books, no epic, and 1 legendary, which I got from my clan boss chest today. However, books are one of the rarest commodities in the game, so you want to use them wisely and you want to use them sparingly. There are lots of videos out there on this champion needs books, this champion doesn't, but you might put a champion that doesn't have anything written about it, and I want to help you work out how and if a champion needs books. And there's some simple steps to go through to work out if they need books for you. The first thing you want to ask yourself is, how many books do I have? And you might have a lot and you might have not a lot. It depends if you've been saving or if you've been using them. So I'm going to go with the idea that you've got just about the right amount, which is a few of each book. You're probably going to have a lot more rare books than you are with legendary books, so we're going to start with legendary books. Legendary champs, there are some that you will use a lot and there are others that you will not use a lot. Skartorsis I use a lot, Razin I use a lot, but these guys down here I don't use as much. We're going to actually look at Maulie because she has a good kit to work out if you want to use books. The best way to know is to go into their skills and you want to look what the books actually achieve. So Maulie's A1, if you put books in, she ends up with 15% more damage. Now unfortunately 2 of my legendary books went into that when I was trying to get her A2, which is a single book to get a cooldown which takes it from 4 turns to 3 turns. And then obviously her cheers also has 2 extra heal and then 2 cooldowns. So I've got 2 in there, 1 in there and 2 in there. Now, if all the book does is give you extra damage, 9 times out of 10, it is not worth it. You can gain that much extra damage just farming better gear. So if it's a pure damage increase like this and you're unlucky and they go into the damage, then sorry, but they were probably a waste of books. 9 times out of 10. Now this is all subjective, it's just my opinion, but a lot of people do agree with this. So if it's just damage, you don't want books to go in that skill. So if a champion has 3 skills and they all just receive extra damage, don't worry about booking them. You can get most of the damage you'll need from the right gear and the right masteries. Now if you get to a point where you have surplus books, which is very unlikely, then you can go ahead and throw books into someone to get that bit of extra damage out of them. Cooldowns wise, something like this, which is a provoke, an AoE provoke, it puts a provoke on every single of the enemies, is something you're going to want to cycle quite a lot in dungeons. You're going to want to put that provoke out all the time. So this is something you may want to book down. So to take this from a 4 turn to a 3 turn means it's actually going to cycle around quite a lot more in dungeons and in content than it would if it's a 4 turn. Now if this was a 6 turn down to 5 turn or a 7 turn down to 6 turn, it might be less worth it, because in the context of where you're going to use that person, if you're running 6 turns before you're finishing that piece of content, it's probably taking you too long and you want to be doing an earlier stage of that dungeon or whatever you're doing there. So if it's a 5 to 4 turn or a 4 to 3 turn or even sometimes a 5 to 4 turn, then it's worth booking to get the cooldown if it's someone you're using a lot. Now for example, this one, the cheers, gives extra heal, so she actually does 65% HP when she revives now, so that's worth it for me. And if I can get the last 2 books into these cooldowns, it takes it from a 6 into a 4 turn cooldown, so she can revive and cycle that revive much more quickly. So this is another place it would be good to use your books. Let's jump over to Madame Ceres. Now this applies to all champions. This isn't just high-end champs like these 2. This is any champion that you're looking to book, all the way from uncommon and rare all the way up. Obviously rares are much more easy to book than epics, and epics are easier to book than legendaries, but this applies all across the board. Let's take a look at Ceres' skills. Her first one gives her damage, and as you can see, unfortunately 2 of my books went into her damage. This is not a skill that needs books. Firstly, I'm looking at Ceres here, and Ceres is for me not a damage dealer, so I know straight off the bat if it's just damage, it's not worth it for me. If it was a champion used for damage, again, if you've got surplus books, it might be worth it. A2, Trick or Treat, with books, gets extra damage first, but after that damage does get an extra 10% chance to debuff, and then the cooldown, which would take it from a 4 turn to a 3 turn. So even though there's damage in this skill, this skill for me is worth it because it makes it a 50% chance of stealing a buff, and it makes it a 3-turn cooldown, so that's going to cycle a lot more quickly. Now, I use Ceres in dungeons and the arena, so having the extra chance of stealing the buff for arena is nice, and having the cooldown for the dungeon runs is nice. If you're going to that 3-4 turn count in the arena, you are not at a stage where you're nuking really quickly, then you probably need that cooldown. Whereas if you are nuking in the first 2 turns, you're not going to get around to that cooldown anyway. But this is a thing that, for me personally, I would book because I use her in dungeons. Her A3 is something I definitely want books in. I've been lucky. I've got 1 so far. So this actually starts as a 6-turn cooldown. And because it removes buffs and places decreased attack and decreased defense, this is something for me in the dungeons I want to cycle as often as I can. So once I get that next cooldown, this becomes a 4-turn cooldown. That is 6 to 4 turns. That's a big jump when you're talking dungeons. So again, this is a move I would definitely do. So to break it down for you, if it is pure damage that you're getting from books, probably not worth it. Unless you're very endgame and you've got surplus books, which even the highest endgame creators and players don't have leftover books. If it is debuff or buff percentage chance, it is almost always worth it, but you have to look at where you're using that champ and how much you're using that champ. And if it is a cooldown and it's a skill that you're going to want on a much quicker cooldown, so it's going from 6 to 4, 4 to 3, 5 to 3, 5 to 4, it's probably worth it for you if you're using that champ a lot. Again, if it's 7 to 6 or 6 to 5, you're probably not going to be cycling around to that ability quickly anyway, so it might as well wait a couple of extra turns. But again, it depends on what you want. So I hope this has given you an idea on like how to look into who's going to want books. It gives you a good idea. It'll also hopefully help you keep your books a bit better. If you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, please subscribe. We just crossed the 100 subscriber mark, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm really enjoying making this content. I've also been streaming 2 times a day, 6 nights a week, every day apart from Saturday on twitch.tv/T-WreckSs. And as of the recording of this video, which was a couple of days before you're seeing it, I am 8 followers on Twitch away from being able to apply to be an affiliate on Twitch. So if you do watch people on Twitch and you want to head over there and check it out, hit that follow button. It will let you know when I go live, and I would really appreciate it, and you will become a Velociraptor, part of the community. I also have a Discord, which is linked in the description if you want to join it. It's not massively active. I don't fully understand Discord just yet, but we have got some good people on there. If you're needing help, they might be able to help you out. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one, and don't forget, get online and get wrecking.